If you're an oldie from my TikTok, you know that I stopped getting books from Fairy Loot. Let's see how many of these books I still have left to read. Welcome or welcome back to Reading Sprints and Chai Sips. I'm your girl Sasha, and like I said a while ago, maybe it's been a year, I think, I want to say a year, that I have not had a Fairy Loot box delivered to me, or an Illumicrate box, or a Baddie's box. I stopped these. I have stopped these. But in this video, we're just going to focus on the Fairy Loot and Illumicrate books that I have left to read. It's not a lot, but it's still a substantial amount that I do want to read. I've realized, and that's why I stopped getting Fairy Loot and Illumicrate, is that I was not enjoying the books, number one. I wasn't enjoying them enough to keep the book box around, especially since I was paying for it. But also, I didn't like the books. I didn't like them. Other book boxes I did notice made special edition books better. Even Baddies, which I have my qualms about the stories that Baddies puts into their book boxes, but the quality and condition of those editions were top tier. Not so much with Fairy Loot and Illumicrate. But let's get into the books that I still have left. So first up is Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. And this one is an Illumicrate book. I cannot tell you which month, year that this book came out, but it is a stunning edition. I just like the pink and teal aquamarine colors together. But it says, a mother and a son, a goddess and a prince, a curse and an oath, a river whose course will change the fate of the world. And that's beautiful. Again, that gives me nothing, which I actually do like. However, I have never read a Vaishnavi Patel. I do have another one of her books on my shelves. It's not a special edition. So that's 2 books by this author that I have and I have not read. So I'm hoping to get to this soon. Let's say within the next 6 months. I'm not making any promises, but within the next six months. Let's do that. The next one is Darker by 4 by June C.L. Tan. And this one is from April of 2024. So this has been on my bookshelves for more than 2 years. And I'm trying to stop that. Stop that in its tracks of how long books get to stay on my shelves without me having picked them up even once. Never picked this up. And I've never read a book by June C.L. Tan. But let's see what it says on the inside. Her magic was stolen. She'll do anything to get it back. We have some cool end papers. Again, I don't know when I'm going to pick this up. Let me know in the comments if any of the books that I show you you've actually read and which ones I should prioritize, or which ones, if you kind of know what I like to read, I'll enjoy reading. Now this book I've heard a lot about, The Crimson Moth. Not a lot about it in the way of plot or characters, but I've heard the Crimson Moth title several times. So I'm guessing this one is good because it was popular, but that's not always true. We know that for a fact. This is a Fairy Loot edition, and this one came out February of 2024. Again, over 2 years on my shelves. Also, I do know that there is at least a second book. I don't know if they did a trilogy or a duology, but I know there is a second book in the series. So it says book 1 in the Crimson Moth answered my own question in the duology. The one thing more treacherous than being a witch is falling in love. And we have her. Again, over 2 years. This is a duology. If I do not like this one, when I do get to reading it, I don't have to read the second one. But if I enjoy this one, I'm going to be looking for its twin in Fairy Loot. So I don't know, because I do still have access to my Fairy Loot, so I can also get special editions still from them. I'm just not subscribed. So if I like this one like everybody else seems to, I'll be picking up the second one. Now with the Scarlet Alchemist by Kylie Lee Baker, I have borrowed this audiobook twice. and I've given it back. I don't know what that says about the book or me as a reader. I think I just wasn't in the mood for fantasy at the time, those 2 times. But I'm hoping third time's a charm. But it says for this one, the principal rule of alchemy, you cannot create good without also creating evil. This one is from November 2023. So almost 3 years on my shelves. That's even worse than the other books. That's what one of the end papers look like. This is a Fairy Loot exclusive edition. I think I've also heard word that this was good. I don't know about any of these books for the most part, except for ones that I might have like heard titles of, because I try my hardest not to engage in any discourse, good or bad, about any books that are on my shelves that I have not read, because I want to be able to form my own opinion. Some of you out there can understand that. I don't want to be swayed in one direction or the other when it comes to my reading. I want to make up my own decisions, and then after I finish reading a book, I will go to Goodreads, I will go on TikTok, I will go on YouTube to see what the streets are saying, what the book streets are saying, and if I agree or disagree. But yeah, that's this one. Next is Until We Shatter by Kate Dillon. This is an Illumicrate book, and it doesn't really have like what the rest of them have, like a little blurb at the top where you can just steal a little piece of what the book is about. So I'm going to, let's see, I could probably read this one. An action-packed epic heist fantasy from the author of Mindwalker, never read that. Perfect for fans of Six of Crows, never read that. Master of One, never read that. And Bonecryer's Dawn, read that and loved that. So I might like this one. I do enjoy when people say, if you like this, you might also like this. It doesn't always work, but Bonecryer's Dawn, I did enjoy the story of that. So I'm hoping this is similar, not in plot or characters, but in feeling with the vibes. So I love the cover of this book, the front and the back of it. A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. I have never read an Allison Saft either. I want to say this might have been her debut book, but I do not know that for sure. I do know that for sure. Down Comes the Night is her solo debut, and A Fragile Enchantment. I actually did read this one. This one came out in 2024. It was cozy fantasy, very, very cozy, very, very slow, and I did not enjoy it well enough, but I did give it a 3-star. If you do like cozy magic, I would recommend it. I love dragons and animals in books. I really do. Look at that. Just as pale as they want to be. It says it doesn't really have, again, it does not have that little blurb where you can just take a little bit without reading so much of it. But I do know this is academic. If I'm thinking correctly about the right book, I do believe this is academic, and it is lesbians, or at least they're on the LGBTQIA plus spectrum. So this is one that I am wanting to read. That's why I was happy this one was in the Illumicrate box. Enemies to Lovers, maybe. Something along that line. And I do love a FF story. The next one is The Scorpion and the Night Blossom. The Immortality Trials are about to begin. This is by Amelie Zhao. And this has been on my shelves only over a year. So this one is not so bad. Yeah, this one's not so bad. But it says, the immortality trials offer a second chance in a brutal world and are open to any mortal willing to risk the journey to the immortal realm. The prize for completing them is eternal life. And that's the inside of this one. I do enjoy games. I enjoy fighting sequences, quests, danger, stakes in a fantasy, and some romance if it's going to be in there. What I do not enjoy is when a story tells me that it's going to have Trials and the fighting is not intense enough. I love a good intense like fight scene. I even like academic if they're going to classes, like let me see that, but that's just another thing. But Trials, I want to see the fighting. I want to see the whole system of how it's set up. So this one does sound very interesting to me. Last but not least is Evocation by S.T. Gibson. This is a fairy loot book. But it says from the international best-selling author of A Dowry of Blood. If I'm not mistaken, I DNF'd that book. I am mistaken again. I never read A Dowry of Blood, but I did read An Education in Malice. Partway through, I did DNF the book because it had an imbalance of power that was very icky, and I did not like it. When a family curse threatens the life of David, a medium, he will turn to the only person he's ever trusted, his sorcerer ex-boyfriend, Reese, which means he will have to open his heart to Moira, Reese's astrologer wife. What? That sounds messy, and I'm already invested. I'd rather be exceptional than average. Pressure is part of the package. Oh, cocky are we? I have also heard of this one in passing, never in any great detail, but that sounds that little bit, I'm hooked. So those are all of the special edition Fairy Loot and Illumicrate books that I still have on my shelves that I need to get through. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, which ones I should prioritize, which ones would you like to see me give my thoughts on, like in a video. I can possibly pull out 1 to 3 of them and try to read them in a video. Trust me, it wouldn't be a back-to-back video. It would be some time in between, but you wouldn't even know that. Magic. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these, if they're on your TBR, if you're planning to read them, let me know. And I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye.